Let's fucking read. I was waiting for something better, and here we are. Good. This is where you're supposed to be. Don't you know that? This is where you were born to be. Destined. No other place on earth is better than here. Boom, 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 boom. What's up, everybody? Happy Halloween to you. Yeah. Can't wait to get my son's candy tonight. JK, well, at least the good stuff. Yeah, just the Hershey's razor blades. Isn't it crazy that they just started making candy prepackaged as razor blades now? So that the serial killers kind of make it convenient for them. Faceless, welcome back. Well, not welcome back. Welcome back, but also thank you for the 2. Says I'm gonna need you to stop sounding so handsome, okay? Alright, I guess I'll start talking like this. How my true form, my true self, how I was born and had to learn how to speak out of it. And Faceless was another 2. There's already other men I'm simping for. Simping stands for Sniper Monkey. You are sniper monkeying around for other dudes. Boom, boom. Is that an apple shaving an apple? That actually sounds like a brilliant idea, Scott. Like, if you ever just want to, like, peel your apple, just use a razor, like, use like a Norelco razor. The one you use on your legs, but for the apple skin. Balloons TD6. Is that what tonight is? That's what you see on your screen right now. My guy, he's surfing through the woods. Is actually just a balloons level. And he's trying to make it to the monkey's home base. At any moment, a sniper monkey, a simp, if you will, is going to take him out. You have a question like for realsies, this one? Ask anything you want. You're currently home alone? Well, perfect. We already did all of our Halloween stories for the year. So now, back to baseline. But not before we get one more Halloween stream in. This is Halloween, this is Halloween. I actually didn't get to watch that this year, but I wonder if I'm always like curious if my like my buddy, his kids, I wonder if they've seen it. Because I feel like that movie would be perfect for them. It is a little scary though at times. You got the sexiest voice ever, not gonna lie. not gonna lick NGL. Halloween, Halloween, Halloween. Sometimes I feel like the fast-paced music is just like way better energy pre-stream. In this town we call home. Mammy Kitten with the 10 says, missed it last time. Can you say happy birthday, Nana Shire or Skierbeek? Oh, I did say happy birthday last time. I specifically remember. Maybe you didn't hear me. That's weird. Unless we're like off kilter with the timing of the stream. But I do remember saying happy birthday last time. A happy birthday, Nana Skierbeek. Big Nanny. Thank you for the 10. Obama. Monster Mash. Do you know Tylenol and other over-the-counter pills that come in bottles didn't get a safety seal until someone poisoned a bottom, then returned it to the shelf? Damn. They poisoned it with some stuff that destroyed your liver. It's been a tradition to watch for the last 15 years now. I feel nerdy. No, that's okay. Traditions are good. They make you feel at home. Hey Joel, up late listening to the live because I'm off work with depression. So fun. Much love from Ireland. No worries. Good to see you. Glad you can be here. And David, thank you for the 1, my friend. What's up? You got so much candy? Oh, shoot. Diabetic coma. You won your work costume contest? Nice. What'd you dress up as? Oh, it was arsenic. Oh, dang. I thought it was just the normal Tylenol that destroyed your liver. How's life, my boy? I also live in PA. Great to hear you from my beautiful state. Heck yeah. Pennsylvania, baby. My one friend wants to go to Philly this coming weekend to go see Stav. You guys know Stav from... He's a stand-up comedian from Come Town podcast. He's a very funny guy. I can't believe you can buy very huge bottles of painkillers in the US. Here in England, you can only buy 32 at once. If you mean by painkillers like Tylenol, that's over the counter, but anything, you know, that has some sort of opiate in it, or opioid, I guess, you'd have to get a prescription from the doctor. Prescription. Stavy, baby. Yeah, Stav's funny. Yeah, and I kind of miss like the Come Town boys, like what's his name? Nick and Stavy together were just hilarious. Like, it was good to have Adam in there, but now that it's just like the Adam Friedland show, it's not very funny. Because like it does seem as if though, I don't know, I don't even know what the show's about anymore, about what they talk about. Because I feel like they almost like, in a weird way, feel like they feel like maybe they're forcing themselves to be a little bit more mature about things. But I feel like forcing any sort of conversation that way feels inauthentic. And then also the dynamic between Nick and Adam is not as fun. There's a lot more fun just like Nick going off on some sort of cocaine rant, and then like Stav would laugh and then kind of give him more ammunition as he went, just sort of riffing back and forth. And I just don't really think Adam has that type of pizzazz, you know? Black Rainbows, what's going on? It's just showbiz, baby. baby. That's what happened in the last podcast on the left. Which one was that about? A Yo Mama's House fan? Wait, that's with Bert Kreischer and... Or is that the one with what's his name and his wife? Because I haven't listened to that one too much. Or really, just bits and pieces, I guess. None of your smart devices are working. Also, did you notice that, like, on your phone, at least it was on my phone, all the likes for every YouTube video was capped out at 13 likes. I don't know if it's doing it for this video or not, or you may have noticed. But if you like it, it will go to 14. But I feel like somebody at YouTube did that secretly to be a bit occult. But guys, thanks for being here. Click that like button, click share. I think when you do that, it lets more people know, hey, we're live, baby. That's showbiz, babby. God damn it, I fucking hate this mouse. I need to turn off that sound effect. That shit's so annoying. Jesus, it's okay. I get it, bro. I get it. This one said 54. Yeah, I wonder if you go to another YouTube video if it will say it, or maybe it just said it for me, and they were sending me a message. Any tips for a new narrator? You know, collaborate everywhere you can. Continue, you know, maybe set up like an upload schedule for yourself. One that's like doable, you know. One that you would be like comfortable maybe doing like 2 videos a week, 1 video a week. At the very least, maybe make them longer to get that watch time. Collaborate with other narrators. Don't get butthurt about anything, because like working with other people online can be, you know, unprofessional at times. So like take everything with a grain of salt, and also try to stay as anonymous as you can, you know? Don't just like thrust yourself out there, because from my experience, people on the internet don't really give a shit about you deep down, because they can't really. There's like a degree of disconnect, I suppose, that sort of makes it feel like they don't have to. I don't know. Isn't she that girl with the awesome dyed green hair? She's super cool. Who are you talking about? I guess my Tim Burton quotations are not cutting it. What'd you say? I didn't see it. Learn AI. Yeah, I've been seeing some AI narration channels pop up, but like, I don't think that's worth it, honestly. Do you ever say no to stories? Oh yeah, I mean, I just don't even respond if the story is... Well, honestly, I don't even look at them. I have somebody else dig through and kind of search by keyword to find stuff pertaining to like a topic, and then create sort of compilations of that. You Paris Hilton right now? It's amazing. I mean, I guess AI can help with art, you know. It can help with making thumbnails and various other stuff that maybe you just don't have available to your repertoire at the moment. But there was a guy that came in here recently. His name was Chill, and he has like a check mark because I think he got it during the whole shorts deal, which I was cool. You know, it's cool. But then I went to his channel. I was seeing what he was up to now, if he still made content, and it was like AI narrations, which is what it is, but I don't really think you can make it very far with AI narrations unless it's like Because I feel like there's something about, like, the individual narrator that people kind of connect with. Can you tell when people are just making stuff up? Probably about as well as you can, you know what I mean? I just kind of go along with the flow. Joel is streaming on Halloween this year and we'll do again next year. Yeah, when's Halloween? Fall next year. Actual question, can fully suited astronauts stand on and ride a hoverboard? It looks like it. His feet are glued. Who knows, maybe he's underwater in like an aquarium. More night shift episodes. I need you to pick up some more shifts, Tanner. So we can make some stories happen.
Mischievous dog.
I think you would make it more interesting than Lock, Shock, and Barrel. Who's that? E, welcome to the Buttersock cult, my friend. You now have access to bonus content. Thank you, thank you. Which, if you become a member, there's a playlist specific for bonus content that you can check out. Got any Bigfoot stories? I do get some. I have seen some sent over the years, but I don't really do Bigfoot stuff anymore because, well, you know, I'm honestly thinking about doing paranormal stuff like at least once a month at this point, because this previous one did well and I really do enjoy them. It's on Thursday, weirdly, even though it's a leap year. Interesting. Wouldn't it be interesting if, like, Halloween only happened once every 4 years? Do you think everybody would, like, lose their shit over it? And also, 2 more minutes, we'll kick this off. You're missing the comments I made? You missed the previous one? Yeah, Yahtzee, I don't see yours. I have it on live chat, but it's almost like it's only giving like every other comment or something. I don't really know. That's such a beautiful word. Why use Bigfoot? Yeah, I don't know the origin. We could ask ChatGPT. What's the origin of the word Bigfoot versus Sasquatch? The word Bigfoot and Sasquatch are both used to refer to a legendary ape-like creature said to inhabit remote forests. Bigfoot, the term Bigfoot is believed to have originated in the 1950s. The name Bigfoot is derived from the creature's supposed large footprints, which were cited often of its existence. Term gained popularity in the United States, especially in the medium, became the most common name for the creature. Okay, and Sasquatch is the term used by indigenous peoples in the Pacific Northwest, particularly among the Coast Salish tribes and the Hacomelem-speaking peoples. The word Sasquatch is thought to have its origins in the Halcomelem language Sasquetch or Sasquatch, are terms used by indigenous groups to describe large, hairy, human-like beings that have been a part of their oral traditions for generations. Non-indigenous people adopted this term to refer to the creature as well. In summary, Bigfoot is more recent. Sasquatch, okay, yeah. I guess maybe if you see it in a magazine or something like that, people were like, they would see Sasquatch and their brain would explode back in those days. But if the papers read, Bigfoot spotted, maybe it's a little bit more digestible. Am I seeing your chats? I am now. I see one. Am I a Barbie girl in a Barbie world? Goddamn right. Sam Squanch. Alright, friends, let's kick this off. If you enjoyed that music, that's Halloween Drum and Bass Mix Hit Radio Monster Broadcast 2020 on the Seismic Noise D&B channel with various artists. Alright, guys, you ready for this? You ready for some Home Alone stories? Kidnap the Sandy Claus? What's that? Oh, is that one of like the little kids say? Kidnap the Sandy Claus. Crystallized. Thank you, thank you. Your daughter turned 23 today. Happy birthday. How many stalwees we got? We got 7 tonight. Home Alone. And this will be the last day that we use this background and song until next year, I suppose. So enjoy it while you can. Is this Home Alone 1 or 2? This is... Fucking... How's this Home Alone 5 at this point? We have done it to death. Do you like the film The Shining? Yeah, The Shining's great. One of my favorites. Faux show. Also, I started using this thing called the slingshot at the gym for bench and stuff. And boy howdy, is that thing nice. What's the new background going to be? Well, we're probably going to go back to the normal one for a little bit. Maybe one of the classics. And then maybe after Thanksgiving, we will begin. We'll do a Christmas background with some nice Christmas ambience. I was in my senior year of high school about 10 years ago. I grew up as sort of an outcast in high school. I wasn't bullied or anything, but I also didn't really have any friends. I didn't mind that solitary lifestyle, though. I went through school and then would come home and play video games. And losing myself in those digital worlds was my escape. My home life wasn't what I would call bad either. It was just my dad and me. And I loved my dad, and he worked so much to provide for me. And when I was young, maybe 10 or 11 years old, my mom got involved with some bad people and their hobbies, if you know what I mean. My dad didn't want to expose me to that world anymore, and we eventually moved away. It was messy, but it was for the best. He tried getting her help throughout the years, but she always turned it down, until one day she was just off the grid, completely. It was sad, but we both moved on, and when I got older, he would have to leave for the weekend once a month for his job. I didn't mind, though. It may seem crazy to some people to leave someone at that age home alone for a weekend, but my dad... At that age, what, in high school? Leaving a high schooler home alone? Maybe they meant thinking about, like, parties or something, but I don't know. Video games are life. They kind of are, aren't they? You see the Creed 2024 tour schedule? I did not, no. Oh yeah, this is behind the scenes. Yeah, for anybody new, I'm just recording, messing up, talking to chat, saying swear words from time to time because I have Tourette's. Just kidding. I could have it if I wanted to. I didn't mind, though. It may seem crazy to some people to leave someone at that age home alone for a weekend, but my dad trusted me. One specific weekend during senior year when my dad left for the night, I started my normal routine. My pops would leave me some money to order a pizza and some soda. We never had soda in the house, so getting this 2-liter with a pizza was like a double treat for me. My night was beginning to play out just like every other night that I was home alone. I demolished the pizza and drank most of the soda, and after a little breather on the couch, I went to my room and started playing some PlayStation. And this is how I would spend most of my weekends, even if Dad was home. I would usually play Call of Duty, but Grand Theft Auto Online had just come out, so I'd spend... Did I make Pradeep a costume? Yeah, I made him a mummy. I just wrapped him in a bunch of linens and let them roll around everywhere. Rest in peace, Matthew Barry. Wait. Matthew Barry. Death. Oh, Matt Perry. You meant the guy from Friends. At first I was like, wait, Matt Barry? Isn't that comedian? You can have a little Tourette's as a treat. Fuck shit, fuck shit, fuck. Is Pradeep your familiar? He certainly is. I would usually play Call of Duty, but Grand Theft Auto Online had just come out, so I had been spending some time playing that. And after a few hours of that, I decided to play the single-player story mode, and the older I got, I seemed to play the story in games less, but for some reason on this night I wanted to play something with some substance, even if it was GTA. And since I wasn't playing online anymore, I took my headphones off. As much as I game, I hate wearing headphones for long periods of time. I've been playing the story for a little while, and I thought that I could hear something coming from downstairs. There weren't any loud or jarring noises. It was just these sort of small little vibrations and little bumps. Now, I've been home alone a ton of times, and I didn't remember ever feeling any of those vibrations or hearing any noises like that. But at the same time, the noises weren't alarming enough that I was actually freaked out. It was a little after 1 in the morning, and I think it's just subconscious to be a little on edge when you're home alone at that hour. And every few moments, I would hear a little scoffing noise. I'd pause the game and try to listen intently. When I listened, I would mostly just hear silence and maybe an occasional little bump. Just because I was home alone, of course, the quick thought of an intruder crossed my mind. I'm even embarrassed to say that at one point I even thought to myself, are ghosts real? But then I would immediately shoot that idea down. This little internal debate would continue for about 30 minutes, and I finally paused the game and went over and sat in my computer chair. Who's Matthew Barry? I think actual Matt Barry TV shows. Yes, so there's a British actor, Matt Barry. He was in The Mighty Boosh, Snuffbox, and What We Do in the Shadows. He was in The IT Crowd, stuff like that. He's very, very funny. I think he's primarily a writer, but he's acts and all that kind of stuff. And if you've never seen Snuffbox, it's one of my favorite shows. Shit's fucking hilarious. The next trick-or-treater comes tell them their treat is that they are allowed to say one cuss word on your porch and not get in trouble. And their parents just like sitting right there and they're like, what the fuck? Who's this fucking weirdo? Been getting into the new Frasier series. Is it out? I can only imagine. We live in a gated community and I wanted to be the favorite neighbor with the full-size candy bars. Nice, dude. It's the way to do it. You're not a good neighbor unless you give out Nintendo Switches. I finally paused the game and went over and sat in my computer chair to just straight up listen for a few minutes without trying to listen over the sound of gameplay. And the sounds started to happen more regularly. The sounds of the little bumps that I initially blamed on cracking pipes or house noises started to happen more often. The little vibrations I could feel were now happening almost every second. It was like my dad might be downstairs. The only thing missing was hearing his voice, though. And the thought of my dad coming home early even crossed my mind, but he would have called me, or at least poked his head in the room to see if I was awake. I decided that I was just kind of being paranoid and that I was getting myself all worked up for nothing. I decided I was going to go downstairs and check it out to prove to myself that nobody was in the house and that I was clearly just letting my imagination run away from me as the night ran on. I crept slowly down the hall upstairs. I crept slowly down the upstairs hall and made my way to the top of the staircase. While I was slowly heading in the direction, the muffled sounds were much louder and I started fearing the worst. I thought of calling the police. Whoops. Yeah, the best neighbor gives out money. This is true. Gold doubloons. Yeah, there was Matt Berry, but we can't forget the triplet, Matt Jerry, who was neither funny nor good at acting. Sad state of events. Isn't it kind of crazy that there's not more actors who don't just like have the same name exactly? Like, imagine how much it would suck to be like Michael Jackson 2. The thought of calling the police crossed my mind right away, but I was actually too anxious in that moment. In my mind, I was thinking to myself, what if nobody is here and I call the police? When I get to the bottom of the stairs... In my mind, I was thinking to myself, what if nobody's here and I just waste the police time? And when I got to the bottom of the stairs, I saw a light illuminating the dark walls coming from the other side of the house. It was the kitchen light. It's possible I left it on, but I'm fairly compulsive and I was nearly 100% certain that I had shut the light off before heading upstairs. I was practically crawling to the kitchen. I was moving so slowly. When I was only a few feet away from the kitchen doorway, I could hear the sounds of rummaging, like someone was going through my cabinets in the kitchen, and that was accompanied by a soft humming voice. And that hum, it was so eerie. I was half expecting to see some big, scary burglar, but the voice indicated something else. I peeked my head into the kitchen, and in the corner, next to the sink, was a very small woman. Her hair was wild, kind of flowing in every direction, and I had my phone in my hand, ready to call the police, but I think that situation just had me frozen in terror, but also incredible curiosity. Then I realized the melody the woman was singing. She was humming "I Got No Strings to Hold Me Down" from the Disney Pinocchio movie. And I almost fainted right there because I knew who this person was. It was my mom. She would always sing that to me when I was very young, and it was one of the only memories of my mother that I actually had left. I couldn't move, and I must have been trembling because she had heard me turning around. A big smile lit up her face, and even though it was my mom, this was not the mother that I remembered. Her teeth looked rotten, and her eyes looked like they were sunken into her face. In a voice that should have been soothing but was somehow unnerving, she says, "There's my baby. What are you doing awake at this hour?" I didn't respond. I just stood there, like some statue. She came over to me and put her dirty hand on my shoulder, saying, "What am I going to do with your father? He's always changing out cabinets around. I swear that man doesn't listen." And then she started to laugh, but it wasn't charming. It was like some disgusting cartoon character laughing. And she turned back around and started humming and going through the cabinets again. I broke out of my trance and went to my room and locked the door. I then called the police and my dad right away. My dad made sure that I was in the bedroom with the door locked. He didn't go into details, but he said that there was a chance my mother might be dangerous and I needed to be safe. Luna, welcome back. For 16 months, thank you. Good to see you. What's happening? And Steve Bonk, welcome back for 35 months. Says, oh wow, almost 3 years already. Yeah, 36 months. Holy shit. Yeah, what's the thing at 3 years? I think you get a new. I think you levitate. But thank you guys. Welcome back. Oh, you're waiting for me to do the laugh. I guess I didn't. Yeah, the way that it was typed up, I didn't even think to do the laugh. I did do some voice lines for Unit 522 over on his YouTube channel on his Halloween special. The last story in that has me as a character, and I think it actually turned out pretty decent. Like, it wasn't the best voice acting ever, but I would say, like, given the context, it turned out pretty good. He didn't go into details, but he said that there was a chance my mother might be dangerous and I needed to be safe just in case. The cops showed up and I heard a minor altercation. I could hear my mom yelling at the police to get out of her house. The police knew the situation from myself and my dad, who called after me, and I heard a brief struggle and then silence for a few moments. I heard a cop shout my name and told me it was all right for me to come downstairs. I spoke with the police for a little while as another officer drove my mother away. One officer stayed parked outside of my house all night until my dad came home, just to help me feel safer, which I do really appreciate. My dad came home early the next morning and he spoke with one of the officers. I could tell by reading my dad's body language that he was uncomfortable and that we were potentially fortunate to avoid something horrible happening. My mother actually had 2 knives on her when she was apprehended. One knife she must have had when she broke in, and the other knife was a sharp kitchen knife that belonged to my dad that she must have stuck in her pocket when she was in the kitchen. She never used them or even threatened to use them, but the fact that she had them was enough to freak me out. But maybe the most terrifying part of this horrible nightmare was that my mother had no idea where we lived. Well, she wasn't supposed to have any idea. When we moved away, we moved far away, and my dad never told my mom where we moved to protect me. She broke into the house by breaking one of the downstairs windows and crawling in. I didn't hear it at all, so it must have been when I had my headphones on or something. And I thought of my mom just humming and walking around downstairs, potentially waiting for my dad while I was upstairs, and it still freaks me out to this day. It's been about 10 years now, and I've only seen my mother twice since that night. She'd been in some type of institution for years now. She has no memory of that night, but in all fairness, she doesn't have much memory of anything at all. It's sad, but it's true. Every time I hear that stupid song from Pinocchio now, I sort of freeze up. And I just hope one day I can forget about the fear that I felt that night and find a way to remember my mom in a positive light. Oh, that actually was a pretty scary, unsettling, unique story. I like that. Can you speak up a bit, please? The lawnmower man just arrived. He's weed whacking. And then my mom had schizophrenia and went insane. The end. Jeepers, creepers, deep-a-deep-deep-deepers. Remove the pumpkins and add turkeys. Yeah, we just interchange. Oh, yeah. What's new for everyone? Anything cool going on? I got a voice twin here on YouTube. Yeah, Mr. Yearmaker, I hear, is pretty similar. I personally don't hear it, but I think it must just come down to the bassiness of our microphones. That's kind of the vibe that I get. It's not. I'm not too quiet, am I? No, I think my volumes are at a good point. See, there's like, I want to say 3/5 of the audio is green, and then it gets into the yellow for the 4/5, and then the 5/5 is red. And you kind of want to be somewhere between the green. Usually you want to be in the green, but if you go into the yellow, it's not too bad. It's sort of a warning that you might peak the microphone at red, and you don't really want your microphone to peak. Are you getting Super Mario RPG Remake? I might actually get that, Sam. I've been playing the normal Mario, or the Mario Wonder game, and even though it's fun, I will say it's a good, solid Mario game. It's kind of just like not keeping my interest because the levels are not very hard. And it's not like the other 3D Mario games where the movement is very fluid. I would say, in a weird way, the movement in this game is kind of janky. There's a lot of like stopping and starting, and I don't really like that. I kind of wish there was more fluidity to it, I suppose. Almost like I kind of wish they would make a side-scrolling like parkour Mario, which I really do think that they could pull off, which would be sick. Like kind of a way to like push the series forward. Almost, if you ever play Super Meat Boy, in Super Meat Boy it was all about like ba 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 ba, you're constantly moving and going, or like Ori in the Blind Forest, or even in Celeste. In Celeste there was a lot of combination of like moves and stuff. You feel the same way about Mario Wonder? Yeah, it's not that I dislike it. I just kind of feel, even whenever you like get one of the magic pedals or whatever that's supposed to make the level unique and crazy, and it's almost like a speed run moment, it still doesn't feel like super quasi. Absolutely quasi. Super Meat Boy, also The Binding of Isaac. Yeah, The Binding of Isaac I guess is more of a, what do they call that? A roguelite or whatever. Hey Grant, welcome back for half a year. Joel, haven't stopped here in a while. Happy 1 million. Thank you, Grant. Good to see you. Your voices are different, but you use your voices kind of similar. That's true too. We do have a similar cadence, maybe. Only an hour till she defrosts. Are you talking about Mariah Carey? Darkness prevails. I feel like darkness... Welcome back to another episode of Darkness Prevails. Today's episode. No, I'm not doing it justice, but... FTL, one of the best games ever. Yeah, I think I tried a little bit of FTL. I didn't make it very far. Like, even Super Mario 64 was smooth. Yeah, but I guess that's because it's like... you know what I really think it comes down to? It's the same thing, in a way, in my opinion, that has kind of held back games like Sonic, like even the more recent Sonic, is that whenever they try really hard to establish a degree of nostalgia and therefore emulate a certain gameplay style or fluidity to a previous game, in my opinion, I almost feel that they actually hold themselves back from, that sense of modern progression that you might feel from a modern game. And I think with Mario 64, it was one of their first games where, being that it was 3D, they could, experiment with whatever they wanted. And I would say Mario 64 was one of those games that just like nailed movement like almost to a T, and had like set the bar for like 3D platformers going forward. And then a lot of the times their 3D games try to emulate that movement, which thankfully it set such a huge standard back then that emulating it actually makes it great while being able to innovate with different stuff. You saw Mariah Carey in Christmas pajamas ad this week. Yeah, she can still get it if she wants. What is she getting? She can sing Christmas tales. We already peaked video games back in 1993. This might be true. I do kind of wonder what, is a peak video game. Hey Brian, happy Halloween. Polar bear, night-night, take care. Alright, let's read story 2. One thing that I hate almost more than anything in the world is being waited on. I don't mean at restaurants or places like that, I just mean in life in general. I've always been pretty independent, and when I first met my husband, we didn't click right away because we would literally fight over who was going to pay for the check. Fast forward to now, and we have a nice balance of things. One thing that I usually do is take care of the house, and even specifically the kitchen. I cannot stand a messy kitchen and dishes in the sink, and he's infamous for leaving dishes in the sink, so that's why I take care of the kitchen when I can. Now, a few weeks ago, I had to have surgery on my knee. This past summer, I destroyed my knee playing softball and still continue to finish the game doing more damage to my knee, and I put the surgery off for as long as I could, but the pain was too much. It wasn't even the procedure that I was anxious about. I actually wanted to just get it done and out of the way. I was more anxious that I was going to be practically bedridden for a little while. And my husband is amazing, and I knew that he'd take care of me, but I also knew that the kitchen was going to be a mess. I'm sure this makes me sound pretty controlling, but I don't even care. I just love making sure everything's clean. And the day came, the surgery passed, and in bed I was stuck, and I hated it. For me, it felt like I was trapped in a cell. I was told not to move for several days unless it was for the bathroom, and even then I should have assistance. Luckily, we had a bathroom in our bedroom, so it was only a few hops in case I needed to go. The first night I stayed in bed, and the next day at home, I was already restless. I hopped to the bathroom, and when I was done, I realized that I was actually getting around pretty well. When my husband left for work, he begged me to stay in bed and that he would take care of the kitchen and dinner when he got home. All I could think about was that the kitchen was a mess. It didn't take me long to convince myself that I was all right to make my way there for a little while and just do the dishes. I took my time on the stairs because I will admit it was not an easy task. When I got to the bottom, I smelled something strange. Not trash or old food that I was half expecting to smell coming from the kitchen. What I smelled was what I thought at first was sort of cheap cologne. But I know my husband doesn't even wear cologne. And then it hit me harder as I took a few more steps. It wasn't cologne. What I was smelling was Axe body spray. I knew it right away. When I was in middle school, all the teenage boys would spray themselves with it after gym class to mask the smell of the body odor, and I'll never forget that horrible smell. I took a few more hops. I know I should have had my walker at the time, and the smell was so strong that I felt like I could taste it. I knew my husband wasn't wearing that because I could have easily smelled it on him by now in our relationship, and I went to text my husband and said, "Hey, don't get mad, but I actually hobbled downstairs. Why does it smell like Axe body spray here?" After I sent it, I went to the kitchen, and I'll have to be honest, I was surprised. It wasn't a mess. There was a small plate and fork in the sink, and other than that, he was doing a good job at keeping the kitchen in line. I went over and washed a couple of the things in the sink and noticed that the back door, which is in the kitchen, was slightly opened. More ajar or crack than actually open, but it still wasn't shut. Maybe this isn't that big of a deal for some people, but we rarely, if ever, use that door. When we go out back, we usually go out the side door. We usually just keep that door locked and put the recycling bin in front of that door. And I sort of hobbled over to investigate some more, and I noticed that the bin had moved a few inches as well. It was like the door was open from the outside, and the bin slid out of the way just enough to let someone in. I already knew the answer, but I texted my husband again anyway and said, "Did you open the back door for any reason?" He didn't respond right away. I hopped back into the living room and sat on the couch trying to put all the pieces together and put a rational spin on everything. The thought of someone breaking in didn't even remotely cross my mind because we live in a really nice neighborhood with almost no crime ever. Husband called. My husband called me back a few minutes later and told me that he had called the police just as a precaution to make sure nobody broke in, and that he was heading home from work as well. I got off the phone with him and sat there quietly waiting for the police and my husband to show up. And then, without noticing, bang, the closet door in the living room shot open. A tall man dressed in black ran out of the closet and out the back door. As soon as he ran by, that smell of axe was incredibly overwhelming. I tried hopping to the window, but I was only able to get a brief glance of the man as he ran by the side of the house. I noticed a very thick beard, and that was pretty much it. He was out of my sight in seconds. Not long after, the police showed up, and then my husband right after. I gave them all the information I could, but like I said, I didn't really have much to give to the police. The most disturbing part of all of this is that the cops are sure that the person didn't break into the house. There were no signs that he forced himself in, which led the police to believe that whoever this intruder was, he may have had a key to the house. My husband went out right away and bought new locks for all the doors and made sure all the windows were locked as well. Nobody knows where my husband is gone. I thought they were going to say he had an axe. I don't know why I read that initially. He used to wear axe. I think we all used to wear axe, honestly. I mean, it's just like, it's the perfect marketing ploy if you think about it. I think at the time it was so popular because it was like, you click to the side and you just press a button and it was just like an aerosol that just like sprayed over you and smelled good. And I know some people say like, oh, it smells like cheap cologne, but I'm like, dude, all cologne smells the fucking same. Hey, what's up, Albert? Yeah, happy Halloween, my friend. You'd prefer a man with an axe rather than axe body spray, yeah. Which is more offensive? You've never smelled axe? Well, you probably never coached middle school basketball. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, I mean, you can find it in Walmart and shit like that. And I don't even know, I don't think it's as popular as it was, but it was just so simple because, you know, whereas normal cologne, it had to come in some sort of glass container and had like a little dispenser, like, you know, that you had to press and sometimes leaked. I feel like with Axe, it was just very simple compressed air, just like click it, spray, you know, give yourself a fucking bath with it and move on with your day. Check out Brute. All the boys used to use that. Yeah, that's what is Brute. Spray deodorant. Oh, okay, nice. Yeah, it's, I guess that's the same shit. Well, yeah, the antiperspirant spray. That's funny. It was the equivalent of Victoria's Secret love spell spray. No other neighbors reported anything suspicious, which makes it even more likely that this person targeted our house specifically. He also didn't steal anything, which begs this question. What the hell did he want? If he wasn't swimming in Axe body spray and left that door cracked, whatever it is he wanted, he may have gotten. Alright, that was creepy too. We got some creepy stories tonight. You like Polo cologne? There's a lot of good shit. And I feel like eventually our desires or like our enjoyment of certain cologne smells kind of comes down to what we've been conditioned by like certain people. Like if we had like a family member or something that wore a certain scent, we might like that more. We had like a significant other who wore a certain, spray all the time. We just associate that with the good times. Making you sweepy. Sorry, I can't stop yawning. But maybe it's helpful to those who want to sleep. Your favorite body spray is nothing. I only leave the house for work, so I don't care. Don't you want to smell good for your coworkers so they don't think that you're stinky? Well, I guess as long as you wear deodorant, maybe. We've all had traumatic things happen to us in life. Some are much more serious than others, and when I was in high school, something traumatic and horrifying happened to me when I stayed overnight at one of my buddies' houses. His parents were going out of town on Saturday night to celebrate their anniversary. He invited me over to just kind of kick it and hang out for the night so he wasn't alone. We did invite a few people over, played some games, but ultimately everyone left around 11 or so. He and I hung out for a little while longer, but then decided to lie down at around 2 in the morning. We were dozing off watching The Office when we heard a loud bang downstairs. I thought that it sounded like it was the door, but my friend said that they thought it was a neighbor and just to ignore it. He was pretty tired at that moment. And now we were both on the verge of sleeping, so we didn't overreact at first. Maybe it was just the neighbor. I mean, it could have been a bird hitting the house or something. And just as we convinced ourselves it was nothing to worry about, the knocks at the door started. Almost in a perfect rhythm, the bangs on the door echoed throughout the house. We had no idea at that moment what to do. This was clearly not a neighbor. This was real life, and there was someone knocking on the door at 2 in the morning. Every couple of seconds, the knocks would come again. Sometimes they were harder, and sometimes they were light knocks. It didn't matter what type of knock it was, just the thought that someone was standing out there at this hour was enough to scare us out of our wits. We both snuck over to one of the windows so we could catch a glimpse of the knocking person. It was just a normal-looking man we saw. He didn't look like some addict, criminal, or even just really sketchy. He literally looked completely normal. He was wearing what seemed to be a nice pair of sneakers, jeans, and had a nice sort of Nike polo shirt on that you might even wear going golfing. His hair was short and parted, but neatly groomed, and he was clean-shaven. Not exactly a scary individual, but still just so weird and so unsettling given the time. We both looked at each other in confusion, trying to process what was happening and trying to think of the correct way to handle this. And then he started to bang on the door again, and we jumped down. Remember, this is 2 in the morning, so this could have been some... What's tonight's theme? Awkward boners? Yeah. 10 true scary awkward boner stories. Biggest, fastest boner, fastest way to get a boner. Hey Joel, it's still Halloween for you or close to being over. Yeah, we got another hour of All Hallows Schmeeve. Did anybody do anything fun for Halloween? Go trick-or-treating or partay? Hey, what's up, Lauren? remember, this is 2 in the morning, so this could have been a Girl Scout selling cookies and it would have been unsettling. I was watching out the window while my friend was trying to call his parents. He was unsuccessful, but he kept trying. He wasn't smart enough to call the hotel or wherever they were staying, and the guy finally just walked away. But the relief was short-lived. Maybe 30 seconds later, he returned and taped a note on the front door. He didn't knock this time or anything, just left that note. He sat on the front steps for almost 5 minutes and then walked away. I kept looking outside, but I couldn't see him. We both decided that whoever this character was, he had to have been gone now. My friend went to unlock the door, and I yelled at him to stop. He told me that the guy was gone. I didn't have any... The guy was gone. He couldn't grab me and eat me now. Went to a fun costume party Saturday. That's cool. What did you dress up as? You left out a candy bowl for the kids and it's still full. That's because kids are healthy these days. They don't want candy. They want diet pills and Adderall. Shit to make them grind their teeth while they play Fortnite. They want Skibbity Toilet. They want that goddamn. He told me the guy was gone and that I had nothing to worry about anymore. He wanted to know what the note said, and I'm not gonna lie, I wanted to know what it said as well. My friend opened the door and grabbed the note, and as he was pulling the tape off the back door, we heard a yip, 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 yip. You dressed up as my mom, a beautiful angel. Oh, thank you. She is an angel. I took your you took your 2.5-year-old trick-or-treating in her Toyota Tacoma Power Wheels. Headlights worked too. All the other kids were jealous because she went door to door in the truck. That's amazing. That is awesome. It is also interesting. I remember years ago going with my friends' kids trick-or-treating in their neighborhood, and there was like a designated time, which is common, you know, depending on where you go, but there was so many fucking people out, like trick-or-treating all at the same time. Like it was like almost like a little fairground, how incredibly populated it was at that time. Sam Bankman-Fried kills it at Fortnite. Does he play? Isn't it weird that is he even in trouble at all? I always thought that was funny, like he does all that shit and then like Congress was just like, he didn't mean any wrong by it. He's a good kid. He bought my daughter a horse. Oh, the truck has a parent remote, kind of like a game controller, so hubby drove her around. That's amazing. Just crashed her into a tree. Probably try to run it into your legs. Peace from Germany. I'm listening to your stories every day and night. My favorite ones are the paranormal ones. Thanks, Samuel. Yeah, the most recent paranormal video is doing pretty good, and I'm happy to see it, honestly. It like brings me a deep pleasure to release those just because, I don't know, they're unique and strange. Even if some of the stories in the more recent one were kind of ridiculous, they were still fun. As he was pulling the tape off the door, we heard a loud, bellowing voice from the distance. "Hey, you!" And we both froze and looked up. The knocking man came out of the bushes from across the street and started to charge at the door. We both screamed as we were shutting the door, and another large man came out of the bushes and followed the man from earlier. My buddy slammed the door and was fortunate enough to get it locked before they reached the door. Both men started to pound on that door. Not knocking, pounding. I looked out the window and I saw the larger man who wasn't out there originally slamming his shoulder into the door. The bangs on the door were unrelenting and we started to fear the worst. Finally, my friend called the police and the guys outside must have heard what we were saying because they fled instantly. The police showed up and thankfully were able to get a hold of my friend's parents and they came home immediately. The worst fucking part about all this shit was Mocky Mock was nowhere to be seen. Like the rocks one? Yeah, that rock story was something else. They're calm and peaceful forest spirits. They mean us no harm and they bring me gifts every day. And if any homeless people come on my property, they turn them into a mush and shove them into a tree stump. It's a blessing, really. Hey, Lynn with the 2 says, Happy Halloween, you filthy buttersocks. Thank you, Lynn. You gotta dress up as a buttersock next Halloween. Just drenched in it. Dwayne Johnson's family killed a homeless guy? What happened? Was the homeless guy trespassing on their cabin property? Was he killed by rock people? Was Dwayne the rock? Oh, wait, oh my god. I'm an idiot. I just put that together. Jesus. The worst part about... I keep saying it, the worst part. What the fuck's wrong with me? The worst part about all of this was the note that had been taped to the door. It was a very violent and detailed note about being at the house to pick up the money. I remember it saying things like, no more running around, no more excuses, and a bunch of other things like that. The note was signed with some name like Leroy. His dad denied everything and claimed and swore up and down that he had no idea who this Leroy was and what money he was talking about. I remember it being very weird and very uncomfortable around this family for a while until it was all sort of forgotten about. My friend and I never forgot about that night though, and we still talk about it to this day. I wondered to myself all the time if his dad was secretly up to something. I mean, the note addressed him specifically by name. They knew where he lived, and then after that night, nothing ever happened again. It just all seems so weird. But I guess I don't know enough about the seedy underbelly of society to know if this is normal or not. We never did any more We never got any more closure on that night, and trust me, I tried. One night we pestered his dad for an hour trying to get information, and he just kept rolling his eyes and saying that it just must have been some weird freak. Fuck. One night we pestered his dad for an hour trying to get information, and he just kind of rolled his eyes, saying that it just must have been some weirdo playing a prank maybe. Whatever it was a horrible night and a horrible memory that I'll always remember. And to this day, I still don't like being home alone. Nicole Lynn, welcome back for 11 months. Says love you. Thank you, Nicole. Love you too. Good to see you. What's poppin'? Leroy the Shiv. Thank you for making my day since 2017, Joel. I appreciate you. Welcome, Allie. Good to see you.
Mischievous dog.
If you left a note at your neighbor's house that said, I know where you live, is that considered harassment? I don't think so. I think it's just stating facts. stating factoids. You know how people say that, where they say, yo, facts. I don't know if people still say that or not, but it'd be funny if they said factoids. Yo, factoids. Yo, fax machine. He's a fax machine. He only be stating facts. All right. I'm pretty stoked. At our gym, we're about to get a boxing person to come in and teach boxing. And I'm excited to take those classes, perhaps, if I have the time. I would like it. It'd just be fun to take out some aggression. Also, tomorrow at the gym, I will be testing to see if I can squat 500 pounds. And it'll be a very monumental day for me on this planet. And then at that point, it's kind of like hitting 1 million subscribers in the weight room. Because then after that, the only way to get any recognition is you have to squat 1,000 pounds. Or nobody cares. Fry, you gonna be the punching bag? Punch you right in the speed bag. That'd be a good pro boxer. I don't know. I think it would be fun, but Jesus Christ! Whenever I see those guys get hit in the face and then they get knocked out, and then you see them like looking up and they're like, God, is that you? And you're like, that motherfucker is not gonna be the same after this. And I just think about your long-term health. You know, is it really worth? Like, obviously, boxing is a great. It's a great exercise sport. You know, you're moving around. You go, quick jabs. Quick movements, whatever the training is, running, abs, all the other bullshit. But then the second your brain, they don't teach you how to do brain exercises. You can't just like get a concussion and then do Sudoku to help recover. It's like after that shit happens, it's like a little bit of your gray matter kind of drips out your nose. You get hit in the head so hard, you get a new personality. Just as like a fucking factory reset. I hit my subscribers? No, I'm just kidding. Fry was making one of them funnies that he does. And that's the tough thing too with like concussion stuff or like CTE or whatever it is that it doesn't even have to be like big knockouts. You don't even have to get like hit in the chin. Your brain smacks against your skull and, bangs around in there like a pinball or anything like that to have long-term effects. Like, it can just be the repetitious, just the little jabs. Just like, you get your head knocked back and you're back at it. You get your head knocked back, Just those little movements can take its fucking toll on you. And then suddenly you're, dragging your girlfriend through a hotel parking lot. You're like, how did I get here? Was it worth $10 million? You wish you had motivation for the gym. I do some exercise, but not enough. I also have a lot of studies and work courses trying to get out of my own. It's a mess. Yeah. I mean, doing school at the same time can be very difficult. You would basically just have to like regiment yourself to be like, this is workout time. This is what this is my program. Because that's the thing is if you don't have like a program on what you're going to do, as well as like an appropriate like nutrition sort of vibe, even though I would say the programming is important just to kind of keep focused on your goals. But you would just have to like schedule your whole day, which, might feel good if you did it. But it also, if you're trying to just like find time, sometimes finding time it just won't happen. You have to like set that time in stone and make that shit happen. Next thing you know, you're in the octagon, doing a backflip, doing some b-boy breakdancing. That's true, you get the cauliflower ear. I really wouldn't want that. I mean, you you see people who do wrestling and stuff and they get it. And I don't judge them for it. I don't even think that they're unattractive people or anything, because it's just part of the wrestling culture, part of the whole spiel. But I myself, having never had cauliflower ear, I have no desire to get it now. I'd rather have broccoli balls. Yeah, if you do have cauliflower ear, people see that shit and they probably don't mess with you. Alright. Let me first say that this story is a little depressing, and it makes me feel sad writing it, but it doesn't change the fact that this was one of the most frightening nights of my entire life. My father passed away when I was 4 or 5 years old. My mom met David when I was 10 years old, and he ended up adopting me several years later. Even though David wasn't my real father, he raised me as if though I was his own daughter, and I loved him like he was my real dad. Scratch that. I hate the phrase, real dad. That man wasn't like a real father. He was my father. He was a great man, and he treated my mother and me like we were the most important things in the world. A few months back, David passed away. He got sick suddenly, and he died not long after. It was sad, and it hit my mom really hard. He was old, but it didn't hurt any less. My elderly mother was already declining. A few months back, he was old. Oh, there we go, sorry. Astro Child, welcome back for, holy shit, 2 years. Welcome to the 2-year club. Your choice, twerk or treat. Twerk, baby. Joel, you don't have to fight. I think you're going to turn into Ray Rice after one lesson. Yeah, probably. That's how you know you made it. Knowing how to defend yourself with boxing and wrestling is essential. That's true too, just having that training at least gives you confidence that you can defend yourself, and at least potentially in some situation. How much squash could Sasquatch squat if Sasquatch could squat squash? Good question. I will find out tomorrow. He was old, but it didn't hurt any less. My elderly mother was already declining in her health, and we were worried that this may be the final straw that broke her back. A few nights after the funeral, Mom would call me in the middle of the night. Every time I thought, oh no, and figured the worst. It was bad, but not the type of bad that I thought. She was terrified. 2 nights in a row, she called and claimed that someone was in her house. She could hear them moving around, and she was incredibly scared. My husband and I felt horrible. On both days, we went over and searched the entire house and found nothing out of place. It didn't look like anybody broke it and stole... Wait, what is it? It didn't look like anybody... Oh, broke in, I think. It didn't look like anybody broke in. Nothing was stolen, and we triple-checked that everything was locked up tight. On the 3rd day, my mom begged me to stay overnight. This was if the intruder showed up again. I could witness and either stop them or call the police or something. Honestly, I just thought my mom was really tired and was dreaming and thinking her dreams were real or something. And at some point during the night, I thought that I heard someone or something coming from the dining room. It was jarring because it was clearly a voice. For a single second, I thought my mom was right and people were breaking into the home. I slowly got off the couch and started to head toward the noise. I rolled out ghosts because I'm not really into any of that, and I started to think that maybe it was someone homeless or something and they were squatting inside this elderly person's home. All these ideas were running through my head 1,000,000 miles per hour as I was drawing closer to the noise. When it was only one room away, I could clearly hear the voice. It was my mom. I stopped sneaking at that point and walked into the dining room. My mom was sitting at the head of the table and having a full-blown conversation with nobody. It was the strangest thing I'd ever seen. Her eyes were wide open, but they were almost glazed over. She was awake and asleep, and she never looked in my direction, but she knew that I walked in. In a very cheerful voice, I said to her, "Hello, dear, I'm just enjoying some time with David." Oh, she said that. Astro, oh shit. It didn't even... I see it pop up, but it didn't go... Maybe it will. Maybe it will hit at some point and I can dance for you. I'm so sorry, but Astro, thank you so much for the big 50 Canadian. As you wish. Thank you. I didn't know that was a wish. Jeez Louise. And thank you for 2 years and the big 50 buccarinos. If that notification goes off, I am twerking my ass off. I promise you. I feel like I need the voice, you know, or the song. Hey Joel, you probably said this before, what got you into reading Reddit stories and the astronaut logo? Well, the astronaut skeleton was from whenever I... There it is! Boom. We got it. Thank you again, Astro. Thank you so much for the 2 years and for the very, very kind ongoing support. I appreciate you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you. But yeah, the astronaut skeleton started when I read creepypasta and science fiction on the channel, and then the Reddit stories actually came after that, whenever those started getting very popular, and I still hadn't really found my niche for the channel. And for a while, I tried to avoid the true scary stories. I was going to be a creepypasta purist. A creepypasta purist for the channel. Not doing true scary stories. But I gave in, and now here we are. Nobody can hear you twerk in space, no claps. Yeah, just clapping so hard it just like breaks the airlock seal in the spaceship. No! You get sucked out. Mammy Kitten with the 2 says, Nana Skierbeak loved it. Thank you, Nana. In a cheerful voice, she said, "Hello, dear. I'm just enjoying some time with David." I looked over, and the chair next to her was slightly pulled out like my mom pulled it out for someone to sit in. I got closer to my mom, and her eyes were even more disturbing. It was like I could only see the white parts of her eyes, and mix that with her smiling and talking, and it was incredibly creepy. I tried to gently tell my mother that David passed away, and she just laughed and waved her hand in my face and said, "You're so silly. David's sitting right here." I was at a loss for words. I didn't know the correct way to handle this. Do I just make my grieving? Fuck. I feel like my microphone's in a weird spot. I don't know why. David. There we go, maybe. I was at a loss for words. I didn't know the correct way to handle this. Do I just make my grieving an elderly mother happy and let her think that she's talking to her dead husband? Or do I try and wrangle her way back to reality and her crushing heartbreak? She grabbed my hand and, still not looking in my direction or changing her facial features, she says to me, "You can leave now, sweetie. I don't know why I was so scared. It was just David cleaning the house that I heard last night. It was just David. It was just David." I remember it word for word. She kept repeating that last part. The sleep talking turned into gibberish, and then every once in a while I would hear the name David slip out of her mouth. I didn't realize until that night just how hard my mother took the loss and how fragile her mind had become. When I tried to move my mother, she snapped and growled at me like she was some animal saying, "Don't touch me, I'm talking to him." I called my husband and he met me over there, and we decided to call 911 because we didn't know what else to do. When they tried to take her to the hospital, she became extremely hostile and even violent, not because we were taking her from her home, but because we were taking her from David. She kept saying that she wasn't allowed to leave because David wanted her there. The mind can truly conjure up anything when it's hurting, and my mother passed away not long after that night, God rest her soul. She never came back to herself after that night either. Her half-opened eyes and sleepwalking appearance never... Sleepwalking appearance? Oh. It's just David, y'all. It's just David. 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 Laying that ghost pipe. Holy shit. Alright. Her half-opened eyes and sleepwalking appearance never went back to normal. The doctors told me that she had some type of nervous breakdown, and due to her age, she couldn't separate reality from her mind. It really is so sad. When my biological father passed away, my mom was a wreck, but buried those emotions to raise me. David saved her in so many ways, so when she lost him, it was like she lost nearly everything. I'm sorry if the story was a downer, but I'll never forget how my mother was acting that night. I'm a skeptical person, but a part of me almost believes that David was there with her. It's creepy, but the mind is an insane tool. Even just my mom thinking that the man was sitting with her freaks me out a little bit. And take care of yourself, folks, and tell your loved ones that you love them any chance you get. I love you. I love you. I love you, Mom. I love you. I love you, Dad. I love you. I love you. Oh, that is sad as fuck. God. I'm scared to get old. Old. Oh, I need to sit down for a second. My back is tight. My upper back. Oh, fuck, dude. Do y'all believe these stories of people having sex with ghosts? Who's having sex with ghosts? And where do I find one of these ghosts? What Ouija board dick do I gotta suck? Creamiest channel by far. The creamiest channel on the internet goes to... The doctor says I need a backiotomy. Gotta get the whole thing ripped out, like Mortal Kombat. Getting old is fun if you're healthy. You seen it on TV. It's probably true. Everything on the TV is real. Isn't it kind of interesting that like TV is sort of like phasing out and now it's just becoming internet and streaming? It's kind of awesome. But it's just funny to think that like you go from like, imagine if like, I'm sure there's some YouTube channels that you probably watch more than like any network television ever, you know? But isn't it kind of weird to think, and kind of cool to think, that like some random dinglebat in their basement can produce content that entertains you for countless hours compared to like a multi-million-dollar function at some major news network or whatever the fuck. Do I sit when I read? No, I have a standing desk. It's much better for my back and hips because I do a lot of... Honestly, it would be better for anybody, really. I suggest anybody, if you can... What you do is you get one of those extendo desks things for your normal desk. It kind of goes up on hydraulics. You can get it off Amazon. And you can put your keyboard and your monitor and some other bullshit on there. And then you can have a chair behind you if you want, if you need to sit it down. But then you can also get a little pad for your feet. There's different ones. You can even get like AstroTurf, or like turf, you know, like a turf field, grass, fake grass that you can stand on until your feet are used to that shit. Yeah, I only sit when I pee. That's my one rule in life. What's up, Tyler? You love podcasts. Yeah, podcasts are it, man. I mean, they are absolutely the future. I have a new podcast out today, by the way. Anybody who listens to the Let's Read podcast. It actually, I was 5 hours late, not too late. It's like showing up. It's the only job that you can show up to your shift 5 hours late and everybody congratulates you. Hey, you did your job. Congratulations. Thank you. 5 hours late. Not bad, sweetheart. We live in an era of custom-tailored content. This is true. It's weird, though, because, like, then whenever you make, like, niche little jokes or, like, little things that you may have picked up from your favorite content creator, whatever it might be, you know, like, when you're younger, even when you're older, too, you kind of pick up shit that people say and you copy it or emulate it. Sometimes people don't know what the fuck you're talking about, and you sound like a real fart head. But in the past, when you could quote all the mainstream shows, people knew what you were saying. They would say, "Hey, was that from South Park? Nice, dude. I love South Park. They always say the meanest, funniest stuff. And I know that you're the meanest, funniest guy in the room now from quoting them. Thank you for showing that I can trust you." Best thing you could do is stretch your body twice a day. That helps a lot. Yeah. Good old stretchity stretch. I hear Pradeep around here somewhere. It's dark, but... Wait. No. Pradeep's sleeping behind me. What the fuck? What's over here? That's weird. I heard something move. I'm PC principal, yeah, pretty much. I'm woke AF. What was your first cell phone? When we were serving down in the jungles of the Baja, I remember having a satellite phone. No, I had, what the fuck did I have? It was shitty. It was a little flip phone. But dude, I'm telling you, I swear to flippin' gosh, I swear to gosh, that my flip phone that I had when I first made cellular calls and sent text messages was more efficient at sending a text message than my fucking shitty bullshit touch phone that I have now. Smartphone. More like a dumb phone, am I right? More like a stupid fucking dumb phone. An idiot phone. I don't know. I hate, like, you will literally type the same fucking word on a touchscreen cell phone, on an iPhone, or whatever it might be, like 6 times in a row. And no matter how many times you try to type it, the phone will just keep saying, like, ducking, duck me, duckaroo, ducky dong dongs. It's just, I don't know. It's unsalvageable how fucking bad texting is. It was so nice. I was 16 years old driving, and I could text on my phone while looking at the road. I didn't even have to look at my screen at all. It was like I was reading I was blind reading Braille. I was a master chief at that shit, bro. Did not even have, like, just guarantee no spelling errors, no weird confusing in between texts that might throw people off. It was just like, spot on every time. You just knew I hit the 5 button 3 times to get to the D or the Z. I don't know. You know what I mean? You just hit a button a certain amount of times to get to that letter, and then another button this many times to get to that letter. You just, like, you had that shit down packed, and there was like a tactile feedback to it based on the little bumps or whatever, or wherever it was on the you know, phone, and you just knew what you were typing. And now the iPhone is just absolute ducking shit. It's ducking futs. But yeah, don't text and drive. It's not smart. But I'm just saying, back in like 2008, it was easier. Not as many 50-car pileups. You turn off your spell checks and autocorrect. Yeah, maybe that's what I need to do. Idiocracy coming true, exactly. That's the weird thing, is the predictive texts, like, never learn. It just continues to make false assumptions. So people can be very weird. We can even affect people that we never even notice. It just blows my mind, some of the thoughts that run through other people's minds. And I'll tell you my story and you'll know what I mean. And at the time, I was working a ton. I was saving money to buy my girlfriend a ring. And spoiler alert, we're married now. We were renting a small house, but still better than the apartment because at least we weren't sharing walls. I was also saving money, so I was also saving money. Your Count Dracula, I want some of your chocolate. Freeballing it on the keyboard. I feel that. I missed your dono. I'm sorry. Horror on the Rocks with the 5 says, happy weenie spook, or whatever kids are saying these days. Thank you, Horror. Good to see you. What's happening, my friend? Sorry I missed it. I was ranting and raving about technology. Blackberries were dope. I miss using BBM and being questioned what it was. Like, my favorite BBC Blackberry. I never had a Blackberry, but I feel like having a full-ass keyboard. It almost seems, in my opinion, I almost feel like BlackBerry, if they could have been the first ones to do like a touch phone, iPhone situation, which maybe they did, but I feel like they were just like one innovative step away from being bigger than Apple. Isn't it weird to think that like your company, your technological company, could be one innovative idea away from just like saving your company, instead of like, because I think BlackBerry still exists, but aren't they like a joke now? Yeah, T9. Oh my god, that's right, Sam. T9 texting. I remember that shit, bro. That was the tits. That was the titties. Fuck yeah, dude. Oh, yeah, I had an invention I thought of earlier. So, because of the slingshot... Okay, so just to explain to you what the slingshot is, if you're familiar with the bench press movement, right? You're laying on your back on a workout bench, and you bring the bar down to your chest, and you try to bring it down to your sternum in a J, almost like an arc formation. You keep your back slightly arched, your back touching, your head touching, your butt touching, your feet grounded, because you're going to... Everything's coming from the legs, pretty much, but also coming from the lats and the back. But it's a fucking shitty move that shouldn't exist anymore, the flat bench. But long story short, they invented this thing called the slingshot. And you put your arms through it, and it's just an elastic strap that connects your two arms together, that when you bring it down to your chest, it stretches over your chest to help create a supportive layer of band that goes over your shoulders, so that it helps you kind of get out of the hole of the bottom of the movement, you know? And you don't injure your shoulder that way. But I was thinking, think about like Major League Baseball pitchers, right? They are always like tearing, what do they call it? The slap tear, or I think it's called a slap tear, but basically it's like you tear the labrum, or the labral tear within the shoulder, tearing of the cartilage and the connective tissue there, whatever the fuck, just from repetitious movement, arthritis, all that kind of stuff. You know, and you always see like baseball pitchers like icing their shoulder, that kind of thing. But I was thinking, what if you had something similar to the slingshot that you could wear, almost like an Under Armour type vibe, underneath your baseball gear, that creates that additional tension at the labrum, the labia, sorry, just kidding, at the labrum of the shoulder, so that you could continue to do that repetitious, like, pulling back, you know, pitching motion without worry of, like, hurting yourself. And I was thinking to myself, like, maybe one of you guys could be inspired and invent that shit. The slingshot is a big rubber band you see people using doing bench press. Yes. Yeah, now just imagine that, but like built into your... Because think about it, you would have like the Under Armour thing that you're wearing, but it has like a very tight, slingshotty sort of thing on the shoulder, so that it would protect against the shoulder, and when you're pitching, and then your left shoulder would still have the full flexibility, so you could catch with your left hand. Fishnets? Not quite. Kind of, I guess. You dislocate your collarbones in your sleep. Oh, dang. You had the tightest slingshot you possibly could in high school. That's awesome. Favorite animated Halloween movie? Shoot, animated Halloween movie. The only one I can think of really right now is The Nightmare Before Christmas, but if you think of another one, I will analyze it in my brain. Do blind people create Braille, or do people with vision create Braille text for the blind? Probably the people with vision created it for the blind, presumably. Who created Braille? And was he blind? Braille was not created by a single person, but rather developed over time by a collaborative effort of individuals. Primary Louis Braille, who was indeed blind. Oh, interesting. Louis Braille was a Frenchman, born on January 4th, 1809, in Coupvray, France. He lost his sight at a very young age due to an accident with a stitching awl in his father's workshop. Louis Braille's work on the system of raised dots that would later become known as Braille was heavily influenced by an earlier military system called night writing, or sonography. Captain Charles Barbier, a French Army officer, had created night writing to allow soldiers to communicate silently at night while using light. Barbier's light used raised dots and dashes to represent sounds, not letters, and it was quite complex. Louis Braille simplified and adapted Barbier's system in 1820s at the age of 15 to make it more practical for blind people. He reduced the number of dots and created a system that represented letters and characters of the alphabet rather than sounds. Wow. The result was a writing system based on a grid of 6 dots, which would be easily read by touch. Louis Braille's system of raised dots, now known as Braille, revolutionized communication and literacy for the blind and visually impaired. He continued to refine and promote his system throughout his life. However, Braille's work was not widely recognized during his lifetime, and it wasn't until after his death in 1852 that his system gained widespread acceptance and became the standard for written communication for the blind. Today, Braille is a central tool for blind and visually impaired individuals worldwide. Interesting. Have you ever seen The Ring? Yeah, The Ring is, I'll be honest, like when it comes to horror movies, The Ring is almost like too scary for me. I mean, maybe if I watched it now, but it wouldn't be as bad. But there was something about it as a kid where I just like couldn't handle it. It was too flippin' spooky. Too spooky 5 me. Can't figure out why you have no sound. It's weird. Alright. Where was I? Oh yeah. Just saw Barbarian. Oh, I heard Barbarian was good. I was also saving money so we could buy a house. She was also saving money for the same reason. Since I was working so much, she decided to volunteer for a 5-day retreat with the company she worked for. She would get paid a ton of overtime, and this allowed me to work overtime at my job, even more than I already was doing. I was going to miss her, but it seemed like a great opportunity to bring home some extra cash, especially with the holidays rapidly approaching at the time. On Wednesday, when I left for work, I noticed a weird smell in my car. Not a bad smell, just a very strange one. It was sort of like a perfume, but one that a younger girl would wear. Some thoughts had crossed my mind, but I eventually just tossed it up to some strangeness that I don't understand, and honestly, I didn't care much either. It was just small. Wait, what? Wow, we got another perfume story? That's fucking weird. I guess you start to notice things when you have a significant other and you smell stuff. It Follows. Yeah, I heard there was a sequel to It Follows coming next year or something. That movie Smile was very much like It Follows. House of a Thousand Corpses, yeah, that one's pretty fucking crazy. I actually wouldn't mind seeing a horror movie kind of similar to that, just sort of whacked out. Some thoughts crossed my mind, but I eventually just threw it up to some weirdness that I didn't understand, and honestly, I didn't care much either. It was just small after all. And that night, I had a horrible time sleeping. I told myself it was most likely because I missed my girlfriend. I was always used to her being there, and now this was the 3rd night in a row that I was sleeping alone. I swore that I could hear noises all night long coming from downstairs, but it wasn't loud enough or scary enough to sort of raise any alarm bells, so again, I ignored the weird signs and told myself that it was probably just house noises or the wind. Thursday morning arrived and I felt like I hadn't slept at all. I made my coffee and hoped that it would do the trick soon. When I got to the car, I found it unlocked. I'm good about locking the car door, but I had been working a lot, and the thought of forgetting to lock the door was on my mind. Ignoring the locked door, I got into the car and Devil's Rejects was better? I don't think I saw that one. I I would like to see it, I guess. I would like to see that movie, I suppose. Yeah, 13 Ghosts was pretty wild. It's been a while, though. I remember I got a copyright claim on a video because I used 13 Ghosts for like a promo more recently, and just like the footage from it. I think it was even the trailer too. It like got a copyright claim on the video. Yeah, the first Jeepers Creepers was actually good. The second one was kind of corny, like your typical monster movie. And I guess there was a third one as well. That's a nice thing about like horror movies, is I feel like over the years they pretty much stayed consistently what they are, you know? They don't have some like overarching political message they gotta shove down your throat or anything like weird like that. They just literally are just consistently middle of the road. Whatever it is they set out to do, they usually accomplish. It's never crazy good, never crazy bad. Just kind of is what it is. What do you do for recovery? I just did 3 minutes of that below freezing Michigan nighttime air naturals cryotherapy. I don't do any ice stuff or anything like that. Yeah, I do take magnesium at night to help me sleep deeper, I guess. And I do try to keep the temperature in my sleeping quarters at like a lower, like 64 degrees cool. Just because I hear that helps you get into a better REM cycle. Okay. Ignoring the I think they meant to say unlocked door. Ignoring the unlocked door, I got into the car and started to drive to work. Now, same story at the... What was it saying? Now, same story as the previous day, I could smell that perfume again. And now some red flags were raising, but I couldn't even begin to think about what could possibly be going on. Every thought I had ended with me blaming it on myself for being overtired or missing my girlfriend. It was the most logical explanation, at least to me at the time. I left work that evening, and once again the smell in my car was clearly perfume. I even had a coworker come over and smell my car just to make sure that I wasn't being delusional. He said that he could clearly smell it too. It was probably just my girlfriend's perfume, and because I missed her, I'm starting to subconsciously notice certain smells that I may have gone nose-blind to. I knew the smell of her perfume, and I knew that it wasn't it. But what he said seemed kind of logical, and that I just assumed he was correct. Maybe my senses of smell were changing. And when I got home, again, all I could smell was that perfume, and now I was really weirded out. I kept trying to convince myself that my coworker was correct, but it wasn't working. I decided to take a shower and go grab some food and a drink at the bar just to sort of unwind. My girlfriend was coming home the next afternoon, and it was also my first day off in 13 days, so I was ready to relax. I got home late that Thursday night, and maybe at around midnight, and got myself ready for bed. That smell hit me as soon as I opened the door to the house. I was more annoyed at this point than anything else. I was never scared, it was just so weird that it bothered me. I got into bed not long after getting home, and the Brits have an entire genre of horror movies called hoodie horrors. What's that about? I got into bed not long after getting home and started to fall asleep. I knew that she was coming home tomorrow, so I was hoping all the weird smells would go away. I must have fallen asleep for a little while because I was awoken by someone getting into the other side of the bed. For a second, I thought it was my girlfriend. I was half asleep and my mind just went right to her. As she was getting into bed, She shushed me by the seashore. Teenagers in hoodies terrorizing people? Oh, interesting. It seems as if though teens in the UK are a lot... actually I have no idea. Teen terrorists. As she was getting into bed, she shushed me, and I turned back around. She started to cuddle up to me like she was the big spoon, which she had never done before, but I was so tired and so happy that she was home that I didn't even care. Maybe a minute later, my eyes shot open. I looked down, and a woman's forearm was lying across my body, holding me. I smelled the arm, and I instantly recognized the perfume. This was not my girlfriend. Then I started to come to my senses, and I remembered that she wasn't coming home until the afternoon. Why would she have come home in the middle of the night? I jumped out of bed, freaking out. I turned the lights on, and just sitting in my bed was some young girl, probably in her mid-20s. She was smiling and kept sort of brushing at her hair from her... She was smiling and kept brushing her hair away from her face. She kept asking me what was wrong and calling me babe. I was screaming for her to get out of my bed, but she just kept smiling. I called the police, but she didn't even react. She started to shush me again, and she kept trying to rub my arm. The entire time I was freaking out and telling her that the cops were coming, but she didn't seem to care. She didn't look crazy or anything. She looked like a pretty normal girl. She was also dressed in a very small, low-cut. He might be having a dream. Three Musketeers is one of your favorites, so the chocolate bar is now nothing but nougat. Nougat. My favorite nougat candy. Nougat City. She was also dressed in a very small and low-cut piece of nightwear, and when she got out of bed to try and console me, she put on a low-cut fluffy robe. The cops showed up, and I immediately went to them pleading my case, and the woman just sat there, letting me do this. She wasn't armed, she hadn't tried to hurt me, and there had been no issues with the law prior or anything I later heard. She was just some girl. The cops take her out, and she says in some weird calm voice to me that she loves me, saying that she'll be back and that this is just a misunderstanding. My heart is going 100 beats a second, but after some investigating, it turns out this woman was our neighbor on the street we lived on. She was a quiet girl, so quiet that I didn't even know that she existed on the same street. And while she lived at this house, she developed some obsession, sort of an infatuation with me. When she noticed my girlfriend hadn't been around for a few days, she started to break in, and the poor girl convinced herself that I was in love with her. Through all of this, she was never dangerous, and thankfully that was the case because who knows what would have happened if she actually meant me harm. But even though the woman meant no harm, it doesn't make the situation any less creepy. I had a borderline stalker living in my house for almost a week, and she got into my bed with me. She never returned to her house, and we moved shortly after that anyway. From what I understood, she had family, and the family was notified, and last I knew she was being treated for some type of illness. I'm not sure, so please forgive my ignorance, so... What? Stalker chic. Some sort of stalker chic. You like the background? Reese's peanut butter cups are your favoritist? Yeah, me too. Reese's peanut butter cups are the bestest. From what I understand, she had family, and the family was notified, and last I knew, she was being treated for some type of illness. I'm not sure what it was, so forgive my ignorance, but now do you know what I mean when I say people are weird? You just truly never know what could happen. Reese's, Kit Kat, and anything with peanut butter. Oh, yeah. Yeah, Kit Kats are good. I think, didn't they make peanut butter Kit Kats at some point? Anybody need any therapy? We can do some fake therapy now, if anybody has any questions. You could hear the Bill Cosby leaking out. Pudding pops. Sweet, delicious pudding pops. Blah, blah. Kit Kats are kind of OP, yeah. Oh, the white chocolate Kit Kats. Yeah, my old roommate, he was obsessed with those. Or was he? Yeah, it was those. I remember, he would get white chocolate peanut butter cups and flaming hot Cheetos and some diet soda and just fucking house that shit. I felt bad for the little people that lived in his stomach. How do you make friends in a new city? Did you move, Sam? You just need to go join CrossFit. I'm just kidding, you don't have to do that, but you just need to join a fucking club or something that does something fun together with people, whether it be just walk and talk. There should just be walk and talk clubs, you know? Just walk around, talk with people. Or some sort of common interest, like Magic the Gathering or some shit. Exercise would be good, because at least then you would be gaining something out of it besides just social stuff. But sometimes exercise is not super social either, because everybody's doing their exercises and not necessarily chit-chatting and getting to know each other. Hot dogs dipped in pool water. Maybe they have a hot dog dipped in pool water club. Yeah, join AA. There you go. Yeah, join AA and pretend to be an alcoholic and cry on somebody's shoulder or something. Hey, Crystal, happy Halloween. Denver has a walking club? Nice, dude. Colorado rocks. Oh yeah, is there an app called Meetup? I think I remember that. I never used it. Yeah, join Fight Club. Maybe you could join a boxing club or something. Oh, shite. Me tired. Sweet Bippy. Frozen now and laters. Sounds like broken teeth. What are you talking about? It's me, Bippy! Yeah, go meet friends on Craigslist. Looking for a lost connection. What's the first rule of Fight Club? Be yourself. Ooh. Bippy the YouTuber now has a Halloween bop. Let's check it out. Here at Let's Read Official, I'm Bippy's biggest fan. Bippy's Halloween song. We can react to it together. We'll go back here real quick. Oh wait, this is from 8 years ago. Where's the newest one? Motherfucker. Motherfucking Bippy, where's the new fucking song? Oh, here it is. Motherfucking Bippy, bitch. What's good? Bippin' ass motherfucker. Hey, Mika.
We're here at Mr. Bones Pumpkin Patch.
Don't give a fuck. Play the song. I'm here for the fucking jams.
Okay.
Alright. These guys are gonna make me fucking put a drill in my head. Let's play this song. God, it's Bippy, bitch. Oh, Blippy. Yeah, sorry. Bippy's the off-brand Kmart version. Yeah.
Every 31st of October, there's a day where the people all come out onto the streets and like to play. All dressed up in costumes in all shapes and every size.
Alright, I don't give a shit. Shut up. Do you think you guys could be the next Blippy? I would like to point out that song had 277 million views on it. Could you do it? Could you dress up as a Steve from Blue's Clues knockoff every day of your life and make weird kid content? Because, like, how do you tell, like, you know, me telling people, yeah, I do a podcast, we cover, you know, scary stories, you know, true crime stuff. Like, oh, okay, that's cool, interesting. Like, imagine if I had to walk up to people and be like, I dress up in overalls and make songs for kids. They're like, oh, okay, can you stay, like, away from us forever? That'd be great. What? What do you mean? What do you mean? What do you mean? What are you afraid of? What are you afraid of? I'm kid friendly. I don't mean no harm. I'm Blippy. I've got a strong grip. I got a very strong grip. I can watch your kids. They won't go anywhere. I've got a strong grip. Less weird for women, though. Yeah, they need a girl Blippy. I feel like Mika needs to take over for Blippy, and Blippy needs to just go into, like, producing. Is he telling a story right now? Yeah, this is the story of Blippy. From YouTube royalty to the crazy bin to Guantanamo Bay. Blippy returns to Vietnam. Blippy scared stupid. I don't know, but imagine, like, if you were like imagine if you were for like years, because sometimes on YouTube you have to go for like years and years of like no success, and it almost has to be like a sort of a passion project of like trying to pop off and get some sort of traction with the algorithm and to make money or whatever. And I was just imagining, what if you were fucking trying to like do like off-brand Blippy shit for like 7 years? Because at least Blippy can probably like, they're like, it's kind of weird, but wait, how much do you make? You know, and he's like, well, you see, here's my latest pay stub or something. And they're like, oh, Blippy, I like you. But imagine if you were like some sort of fucking, you know, great value Blippy, getting like 100 views a video for fucking like 7 years straight. I feel like that's when people start to wonder if you're like on a list or something. Blippy gets grippy. You'd do anything for some sushi. For some Blippy. 100 views a day for 5 years to get Blippy views. Would you do it? That's honestly, it's a tough question. If I knew it was gonna happen, but like, I feel like to make, I don't even know. I don't even know the motivation that goes into those like kids channels. Like, I feel like to do it, it has to be one of those things where you did for like a week and then had one video get like 10 million views and you're like, I guess I'm doing this now. And then you just keep chasing that fucking 10 million like dopamine hit forever. I think the word toxic is actually toxic, and we throw the word around like it's some sort of frisbee. One topic that has always got brought up in that toxic conversation is toxic exes. Oh, how exes are terrible. Not all exes are bad though, but the ones that are, I think truly encompasses the word toxic. You see, I was engaged a few years ago and it ended very poorly. My fiancée got a job about 100 miles from our hometown, so I moved with her and started a life here. I didn't have friends or family or anyone to turn to when we broke up, and because of the job I started, I decided not to head home just yet. It's not important how things ended, but they did end very poorly. She begged for me back, but I couldn't put myself through that heartache again. Right after the breakup, she kept the house, and I found a small one-bedroom apartment. I just hoped that I would be able to meet some new friends, which I am really bad at, by the way. A few weeks after the breakup, I was just sitting in the apartment sulking, which was my favorite hobby around that time. The apartment was on the first floor of the building, which was really like the half basement, if that makes sense. My windows were at eye level, and it was just my head that was above ground. The rest of the apartment was below the ground. I had a lovely view of nothing to help me cope with my crippling depression at the time. One thing while I was just being a bum, one night while I was just... I'm gonna do that OnlyFans idea, that's not bad, just like me clipping my toenails and farting. Yeah, I mean, if it's like a side hustle that doesn't, you know, hypothetically, I'm saying this hypothetically, that doesn't compromise your privacy and you can just sort of comfortably do it on the side, fulfilling the wishes of weirdos online that, you know, you feel comfortable with, I don't see any issue there. What if this isn't really happening right now? What isn't really happening? Blippy? Imagine an OnlyFans person, the same trajectory, just bottom of the barrel content for days upon days. That's most people on OnlyFans, dude. And I think that's even scarier than like a knockoff Blippy situation, is that imagine you like are a person that puts your entire body and like sexuality out there on OnlyFans for like years, and all you get is like demanding, rude, stalkerish creeps, you know, and just endless drama, but like no money. But I do hear that honestly the majority of like OnlyFans content creators are not doing great on there, you know, like right out the gate, like they're not doing great and they're not happy. Imagine if you were like doing really well, if you were in like the top 0.01% or whatever the fuck they always talk about, and imagine if you just wanted to get out, but it was like your only recourse for making money. That would almost be scarier than not, you know what I mean? You gotta take down the Halloween shower curtain tomorrow. You don't have to. Honestly, I think Halloween goes, in my opinion, all the way till Thanksgiving. Maybe a week before Thanksgiving. Eric Cartman's mother. Oh, did she do that? Did she do OnlyFans? You need some new earbuds. I'm thinking of getting these Sony ones. Can anyone recommend something better? Earbuds? I'm not really sure. I do like those Bose noise canceling ones, but they're like over the ear ones, and they're not like the buds if you're trying to like work out or whatever. Imagine paying for prawn. Yeah, a lot of people do it, you know. I don't know. I honestly can't really relate but a lot of people enjoy the idea of connecting, I guess, with some people. But I feel like even if you were to like be some OnlyFans girl's like #1 simp, you could potentially just be talking to like an AI most of the time, or some like, you know, Romanian dude in a fucking dark room who's just like on the night shift for talking to weirdos. He's like, "Oh, sweetie, that sounds so hot. I really do appreciate your $9.99 donation. Thank you so much. Kisses, smooch. 3. Ooh woo." Which ones do you weigh, Trey? I have over-the-ear Bose QCs, and I love... Oh, yeah. The Bose, yeah, but the Bose are expensive. Yeah, Raycons, you use my coupon code for Raycon, but, you know, you get whatever you want to get, honestly. Also, an interesting feature that's coming to my channel soon is... instead of starting a whole Spanish channel, they're actually going to have an AI that tries to emulate my voice, but in Spanish and Portuguese, and then there will be an option within, like, you know, your typical settings on a video on the bottom right, where you can like change the video over to like my voice in Spanish or my voice in Portuguese. And I'm actually very curious what the AI version is going to sound like. It's actually Blippy typing. Blippy's a freak. Freak of nature. One night while I was just sort of being a bum, the power went out. We were having a pretty bad storm, and last time we had a storm like this, the power was out for several hours. I knew I couldn't just sit in silence, and since it was getting late, I couldn't really go anywhere anyway, even though I probably wouldn't have if I could. I lit a few candles that I had and sat at my table. It was a small table that only fit 2 chairs. I loved to draw and color in high school, and I had some talent before I gave it up. This was the perfect chance for me to draw and just sort of get lost in something that I used to love so much. While I was drawing, trying to get my mind off of my ex, I heard something. It was a loud noise, and it sounded pretty close. Unfortunately, it was too dark to see anywhere in my apartment other than the little area that I was sitting in with the candles. I slowly walked over to where I heard the noise, and lying at my window outside was what looked like some sort of figure. I jumped back because I was scared, even though I knew that it had to be crazy. It had to be crazy? Speak to you in Espanol. Espanoli. Espancanoli. El Jolo. Welcome back to Let's Read. My name is Joel. About as sad as a guy that fell in love with a prostitute in Boys Town in Mexico. Last name was the same as the auto parts store? What you talking about, Willis? I saw a figure 8. Maybe. Wait. Outside was what looked... I jumped back because I was scared, and even though I knew it had to... I'm gonna have a hard time reading comments and listening to the story. I have to do one or the other. It's all good. All these stories will be edited and out tomorrow on the normal video or on Patreon or whatever, so you can just use the stream to chitty chat with folks and catch the stories in their full form later. But it's up to you. No one would breaking it. What am I fucking reading? I jumped back because I was scared, even though I knew it had to be crazy. Okay. I jumped back because I was scared, even though I knew this had to be crazy. No one would break into this apartment. They would have to get on their stomach and practically crawl into the apartment, not to mention hardly anyone in this town knows even who I am. I went back to the small table and blew the candles out. This way I could use the darkness to my advantage and be able to see out the window better. I didn't know for sure what I saw at this point, and it's possible that it could have been nothing. It could have even been a skunk or something trying to get out of the storm. I just didn't know. I went back over to the window and I could see it clearly now. This was no animal, and this was not my imagination. Lying on the ground trying to open the window was a person dressed in all dark clothes. I freaked out. I didn't know what to do. The obvious answer was to call the police or the authorities or whoever, but I don't know why in the heat of the moment that just didn't cross my mind. The only person I really knew was my ex-fiancée, and I decided to give in to my fear and loneliness and call her for help. And right as I pressed call, a light could be seen shining through the window, and a brief melody of a ringtone could be heard. The call went right to voicemail after that, I guess, and knowing what was most likely happening, I decided to call right back to see if it was a coincidence. And sure enough, the light and ringtone went off for a split second before the intruder shut it off. My ex was trying to break into my apartment. But why? At this hour, in this weather, her intentions were clearly sinister. I started to yell and she kept trying to break in through the window, but thankfully it remained locked. I called the police, and as soon as she heard me on the phone, I saw her get up and run off. I told the cops everything when they arrived. They actually didn't believe me right away, and they looked almost annoyed, like I was bothering them with this. But when they looked out the window, they could see the spot in the dirt where someone was lying, and there were clearly signs of forced entry. They finally agreed to follow up and see where my ex was. When the cops went and questioned her, she seemed to deny everything, which didn't surprise me. She said that she had been with her new boyfriend and that I needed to move on. This guy also vouched for her and said that she was at the house the entire night with him. Either this guy was in on it, or she was already manipulating him. I called her out for being a liar, and I was the one who branded a liar. Yeah, I guess it's the ex from earlier in the story that he broke up with. I called her out for being a liar, and I was the one who was branded a liar and a crazy ex at the end of it. When I brought up that I called her twice and both times the phone lit up, she said that her phone was broken, so it couldn't have been her. And this was it for me. I couldn't live in this town anymore, and now that I didn't feel safe being here either, I paid an early termination fee for my lease and I moved home to stay with my family until I got back on my feet. I've never heard from her again, and I'm so thankful for that. My life is much better without that toxic human ruining my life. Alright, that was story 6. We got one more story left. I should probably go take my magnesium spills. A so long dental plan with the 5 gifters to Ravenous, Gory Greg, Peter Hargraves, Punky 0683, Marisol. Welcome, my friends, to the Buttersock Cult. You now have access to bonus content. Be sure to thank So Long for the kind gifters. Thank you, So Long. When will I be gifted with a membership? I don't know. I guess if you stick around. You take magnesium too? Good reminder. Yeah, I take it just for, it's supposed to relax like your central nervous system so you can sleep easier. And it does honestly help kind of knock me out. But yeah, talk amongst yourselves and I will be right back. You hope Joel uses wet wipes. Toilet paper only spreads the shit around. I just use Pradeep. Usually. What's the point of having a cat if you can't wipe your ass with it? Our Lord is back. I hath returned. I forgot my car keys. That'd be funny if Jesus came back and he's like, oh, hey, what's up, guys? Like, Lord, what news do you have from us from heaven? He's like, I forgot my cigarettes. All right, see ya. When will you return? Listen. When mommy and daddy don't like each other anymore, this is your fault. Okay, bye. Alright, guys, last story. You guys ready for this last spooky fucking story? You're gonna hear it. You're gonna shit your pants. You're gonna be like, oh, fuck. Holy crap, that's a scary freaking story you just told me. Let's read. Thanks so much. It's crazy that you even tell stuff so spooky like. You're obsessed with food. So is the people on My 600-Pound Life. Obsessed. It was their passion, someone would say. This track is kind of fire, though. Somebody was saying earlier that they don't want the frogs. I like the frogs. You're quitting weed tonight after smoking every day for years, and I'm doing it on my own. It's going to be hard, but I have to do it. Ms. Joe, I agree with you. And I believe you can do it. And I believe life will be better for you when you're done. It's going to take a while. You know, it's like any drug. I don't think there's going to be like withdrawal symptoms per se, but you know, it's kind of any habit, any actionable habit is hard to break, but you know, you're going to save a lot of money. You're not going to pay, I don't even know how much like a typical cut of marijuana is anymore. Back in my day, it was like $60. Now it's inflation and shit is probably goddamn $90. Can I do Pepe Le Pew? Or Pepe Le Pew? I kind of forget what he sounds like. Oh, mon chéri, so beautiful. You made pumpkin loaf today. Nice. Hell yeah. What's up, Lucas? Just in time for story number 7 of 7. Also, like, getting off of weed too, you kind of like, you there's almost like a haze that's over your eyes all the time. I mean, literally. But you start to see the world in a different light. It might be kind of darker at first because you're not giggling or whatever. But I feel like you're a little bit more motivated to make things better as well. Like, sometimes if things aren't that great, you're like, damn, things ain't going so good. I'm gonna smoke a little bit of weed, and you know what? Things not being going so good, it's actually not too bad. I'm gonna take a nap. And then you don't really change anything. But maybe if you get off of it, you might be more motivated to eventually like make a change for the better. What do these whippersnappers pay for a spliff these days? What's my thoughts on flan? Is that like, that's a fucking dessert, right? Sierra, what's up? Joel, I started Tinder, but I hear men can come across women who could squeeze you out of every penny. Wait, what? What? Joel, I started Tinder, but I hear men can come across women who could squeeze you out of every penny. Any advice? I mean, I guess in that scenario, don't get married, because that sounds like marriage, if that's the case. But, you know, don't be... I mean, just, you know, have fun. Don't be weird to people. Like, if you try to date somebody on there, try to, like, legitimately just, like, have a nice human experience with them, I suppose. Where you, like, actually go do something, like a date or a... And, you know, be ready for the fact that 95, maybe 99% of people won't want to do anything. Some people are just looking for attention on there, which is fine. It is what it is. Nobody owes anybody anything, any time or anything like that. And, yeah, but, you know, there will be some people that will genuinely want to, like, hang out and go on a, you know, get some coffee, dinner, walk around, gangbang orgy, Simpsons stuff, poop and piss fight, you know, the normal. Batsy Girl, thank you for the 5 gifters. 2, Mother of Microbes, Not Lizard, Ted K, Joni, and Jacob Mann. Welcome to the Buttersock Cult, my friends. You now have access to bonus content, and be sure to thank Batsy Girl. Thank you, Batsy Girl. Oh yeah, I guess if you meant like squeeze you out of every penny, maybe just be aware that there are bots on there that will try to be like, hey, do you want to talk over here on my super secret application that nobody else knows about except you? Just click this link. That's a little weird. Flan is like a Spanish creme brulee. Alright, I'm on board. There are a lot of green names. Always good to see. And Mike Baiano with the 14 months says, when I was 20, I could smoke my weight in weed. Now, at 35, if I even sniff it, I have to set a couple of hours aside to cry and convince myself I'm not dead. Hell yeah, dude. Probably because that shit is fucking concentrated now. It changes. I remember, you know, I never really did it that often, but I mean, I would do it here and there. And when it was just like leaf, I remember people saying that it had changed from way in the back, you know, way in back in the day to like hyper concentrated stuff with THC on it. And then all of a sudden they made fucking dabs. Like my one friend, he'll smoke 3 dabs a day. And I always say a dab will do ya, but he says, I think 3 dabs will do ya a day. One when he wakes up in the morning, one right before he goes to work, and one before bed. And it's just like, Jesus Christ, brother, do you even exist in reality anymore? Because I remember I took like 1 puff of it, and I was on planet Neptune, brother. Yeah, the 70s hippies would smoke weed or a dab today and be like, this is some MK Ultra shit, bro. Oh, fuck, I'm being brainwashed. He smoked like 10 taps a day in a bunch of bowls. That's a lot, Danielle. That's a lot of... You do like 6 dabs a day? What the fuck? Do you have like the big Bunsen burner bullshit? Y'all are crazy. Well, a dab will do ya. Maybe 10. And then he has a pen too, which is funny. He hits his pen. But like, The tolerance. Yeah, I guess if you're you know, you want to be high. But like, is the desire to be high all the time? Is that the desire? Just the constant, ongoing high? Because then eventually it's not like a really, like a celebratory thing, or even... I mean, I guess it doesn't destroy you like alcohol would. In the, like, disease sense, or like destroying your liver or something. Did I watch the South Park Pandering episode? It was funny. I did not. I haven't watched South Park in many a moon. You stopped when you got paranoid. I think that's where everybody stops. When they realize how paranoid it makes them. And it makes me very paranoid. I mean, sometimes I'll be chill. But like, it has to be the right environment. Otherwise, if I have too many negative thoughts invade my space, it's just like I have to create like a fucking Zen bubble where nobody and none of them can touch me, and I don't let any of them in. Hey Elijah, good to see you. Happy birthday to you. It's kind of a spiritual thing for you, smoking all the time. I hate the smell of it. I can't stand when people come into where I work reeking of it. I think the smell of it really affected me in a weird way too, because back when I would do it, it would always be at like my friends' like very dingy environments, you know? It was like being in their like shitty apartments with just like everything was gross. There was just like Chinese food like stacked up 10 miles high. You know, a fucking raccoon in the corner. He was a pet, I guess. I don't know. The place just... so you just got the association of the smell of, like, weed with, like, stinky locations and, like, not so comfortable places. And so that kind of, like, was drilled into my brain as well, of not really enjoying it, per se, because it reminded... it, like... or even the vibe of, like, coughing on it. I hated that feeling of coughing. Just like... you're, like... you're high as shit, and now you're hyper aware of the fact that your throat is like dry and hurts, and you're still coughing, and all you need is like one fucking drop of water, like you're, you know, stuck in Hades. You have seizures, illegal for THC here, moving back to where it helps and can lessen the pills. Oh, okay, that's good. Funny enough, well, not funny, but my buddy's wife, she actually had a seizure from smoking weed. And that's what stopped her from doing it. And she had really bad anxiety, so I don't know if like the weed just like set it into like next level anxiety, and like just all that stimulation just exploded her brain. Coughing makes you more high? I don't know. It's hard to say. I don't know. I don't really mind just being sobes. I mean, it's fun, because then whenever you do kind of like get on something or whatever it might be, it's kind of like a lot more significant, I feel like. But that doesn't mean that like normal life can't just be as equally as desensitizing or like numb. But yeah, it's mainly just the paranoia and the overthinking that I avoid it. But anyways, being stalked in the night is horrifying. I've read and heard enough stories over the years that I am almost desensitized to the notion of being stalked. I say that now, but I'm sure if I was being chased by some crazy man that I would probably jump out of my skin. I will say, though, that I know firsthand what it's like to be potentially staring death in the face. And that, my friends, is the most terrifying thing on the planet. It's not always the knife-wielding maniac you need to be afraid of, trust me. Last year, I decided to rent this little cottage that was practically in the middle of nowhere. I don't love people and I hate the city, so I just wanted to get away and live in nature for a little while. Listen to the trees, the wind, and the wildlife, and this place was adorable, and its wilderness location was perfect. I was in the mountains, but I still had all the afternoon sun. It was as close to heaven as I've ever been. Up in these parts, it's not uncommon to see wildlife come near your cottage, like deer or even bear in some cases. A few weeks ago, a couple of bears came and tried and got some food out of my cottage, but they were... Tried to. Okay. Did she dab? Because dabbing might mess with your neurons? Is it? About to get high as fuck for the last one. Hell yeah, might as well, brother. Do it up. It's all making you want to do the weed. Yeah, I mean, if it, you know, for people that have done it for a long period of time, if you feel as if though it's had a net negative effect on your life, then stop. If it hasn't, it's up to you. You know what I mean? THC makes guys grow moobs, really? I feel like that I haven't really seen like any updated like science on marijuana or THC in like a long time. In the past, I remember it was always people trying to like get rid of the demonization of it and show that it's good. But I sometimes kind of wonder if we've like overcorrected in the other way and forgotten about, you know, the potential negatives of it. A few weeks ago, a couple of bears came and actually tried to get some food out of my cottage, but they were unsuccessful. I wasn't scared. I was actually excited. I got some cute videos that I'll be able to enjoy for the rest of my life. However, one night at the cottage, things got bad. I may have accidentally drank a little too much, and as a result, I passed out on the recliner, which was in the main room of the cottage. Just to give you an idea of the size of this place, it was a small kitchen, much like you would find in a typical apartment. Then it was just one main room with a recliner, a small chair and table, and a bed in the back. On the back side was a little bathroom with a walk-in overhead shower. In other words, 2 people could not live in this cottage. And because I had drank too much, I forgot to lock the door, which wasn't a huge deal because this place was in the middle of nowhere. It was more so a comfort thing that I like to lock the door. It doesn't matter where I am, I just like the idea of the door being locked while I'm asleep. Well, my nightmare was about to come true because I woke up to the sound of things smashing and breaking coming from the kitchen, which was where the door to the cottage was located. I thought I was being punished for the one time in my life that I didn't lock the door, and just my luck that I would have an intruder in the middle of nowhere. I grabbed my pocket knife and snuck to the doorway, and let me tell you, I wish it was an intruder. But let me rephrase that. I wish it was a human intruder. In the kitchen, going nuts, digging through the trash and the food that I had in the fridge, was a fully grown mountain lion. Its tail whipping back and forth, it was making this horrible, guttural, growling noise. I don't know if it was in good as sort of... Yikes, dude. Fuck that shit. Hey, Maya May. Welcome to the Buttersock Cult. You now have access to bonus content. Thank you. And Allie with the 5 says, Happy Halloween, Joel. Thanks for being here. You're welcome, Allie. Good to see you. Thank you for being here. And thank you for the 5. Why $4.99? It's like automated on YouTube. Like if someone donates $1, it's 99 cents. If someone donates 5, it's $4.99. I don't know. It's just kind of part of the, you know, deal. If it's 20, it's $19.99, or you know what I mean. Calm your moobies. Squeezing milk out of my moobies. Seeing a movie with my friends, drinking movie milk. was weird. As I laughed at that, the creepy laughter in the background of the track went off, and I don't know why that, like, made me feel slightly comfortable. I don't know if it was a good enjoyment sound, or if this thing was ready to rip my face off. Either way, I didn't want to take that chance. I jumped back on the other side of the wall and tried to figure out how I was going to escape this situation. In the little bathroom was a small window that I was sure that I could climb out of, but I was too scared to make any noises for fear that this giant cat would hear me. The more the mountain lion growled, the more scared I became. I finally made a run for the bathroom. The cat heard me. And do you want to hear something scary? YouTube the sound of a mountain lion growling. Now imagine that just a few feet away from you. It was one of the worst things I've ever heard. As I ran to the bathroom, I slid the door shut, and I heard the mountain lion jump into the main room. Of course, the bathroom didn't have a real door and just had one of those sliding doors. I was holding it tightly as I could, trying to think of a way out of this predicament. While I was holding the door, the mountain lion started to ram its head or something into the door. I was screaming, which I'm sure was making the cat even more tense. And for once, the small bathroom came in handy. I was able to hold the door shut with one hand and reach across to open the window. I didn't care about the deposit, so I kicked out the screen and drove. I didn't care about the deposit, so I kicked out the screen and dialed... Motherfucker. Ooka ooka booka. Ook ook ook. Danger, danger. Them tiggled bibbies. Taki Taco, good to see you. Thanks for being here. Feel bad we're kind of on the tail end of the stream a little bit, but I just really wish that YouTube would like notify people, not in like drip feed fashion. I wish they would notify them like early on so they can all actually like catch it live, especially for it should notify people who really want to be here, you know, which I guess it does because you do see a lot of familiar faces. I didn't care about the deposit, so I kicked out the screen, and in one foul swoop I dove out the window. As soon as I let go of the door, the mountain lion was able to open the door, and all I remember seeing was this vicious-looking head, growling as I tried to jump out the window. But it couldn't, or didn't, and I ran to my car, which was thankfully unlocked, and got in the car and locked the doors. I didn't have my keys, so I couldn't drive anywhere, but at least I could lock the doors. I did actually eventually see the mountain lion come out of the cottage about an hour later and walked around the car for a while. That scary cat continued to make these low, guttural sounds and even bared its teeth at times. At around dawn, the mountain lion finally retreated somewhere and was gone for a while before I left the car. I rushed into the cottage and the place was destroyed. I grabbed my keys and my phone and drove into town. I called the property owner and the guy somehow laughed. I just had the worst night of my life with an animal that I thought was going to rip my throat open, and this guy was laughing and basically just telling me, yep, that can happen around here. And in case you couldn't tell, I left that day. And yeah, I had to pay for the damages because you gotta love those contracts. But needless to say, nature is no joke. That was undoubtedly the worst experience of my life, and I wouldn't wish that on anyone, except maybe that property owner. I'm just kidding. And I've since found a boyfriend, and I gotta be honest, I don't love being alone anymore. Maybe I'm getting older. Maybe I'm getting older. Let's read is 38. He is not 38, he's 33. Thanks, Sam. I guess, is there a big difference between 33 and 38? Probably not, I guess, but I mean, maybe there can be if you let yourself go. It does notify you within a few minutes? Okay, that's good. How the cougar turned the doorknob to get inside. I think it said it was like a sliding one, like one of those ones that kind of in like a smaller trailer type situation. Or imagine if you're like in an RV or something like that, it kind of like bends inward and kind of slinkies in on itself. Hey, night, Aaron, take care. I gotta read this last sentence here. Maybe I'm getting older. Maybe this experience rocked me to my core. The only thing I can say for absolute certainty is that I am most definitely a dog person, and not a cat person. I feel like that's kind of redundant at the end, but let me just rephrase that at the end. The only thing I can say for absolute certainty now is that I am most definitely a dog person. Because you're kind of like implying that you're not a cat person. Because if you sit there and like not a cat person, it's almost like assuming the audience is not smart or something. What's my favorite Disney princess? I guess whatever one likes to take fentanyl. The one that lives in San Francisco. We gotta get another cat. I don't know, dude. I feel like I get another cat and maybe they don't like each other and it's annoying and they fight. And then like they get territorial or for whatever reason and start pissing on things, and I would just like fucking not be happy about that. I had to go into my settings to start getting immediate notifications for streams. Even with the bell set to all, it wouldn't show anything until after the fact. Interesting. Tim, what did you change in your settings? And is it on your Google account or YouTube account, or where specifically? Yeah, literally Sleeping Beauty. Who here is dressed like Blippi right now? Probably Pradeep. Only problem with this channel is your volume is low. Really? I don't know, like whenever I look at the conversational thing, it's like it goes all the way up into the yellow when I talk, so in my head I'm thinking like it's probably blowing out people's ears, or you know what I mean? Maybe it's just your headphones or something. I don't know. Ooh, woo. Okay, let's read this outro, and you guys can think of something funny for me to say at the end of the video. The Blipio. Sound good? Okay, yeah, no worries. I know sometimes it sounds a little quiet to some people, and it might just be based on comparison or whatever their sort of equipment is. Hey friends, thanks for listening. Click that notification bell to be alerted of all future narrations. I release new videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 7 p.m. EST. And there are super fun live streams on Sundays, Tuesdays, and Thursday nights. If you got a story, be sure to submit them to my subreddit, r/Let'sReadOfficial, and maybe even hear your story featured on the next video. And if you want to support me even more, grab early access to all future narrations and bonus content over on Patreon, or click that big join button to hear about the extra perks offered for the channel. And check out the Let's Read podcast, where you can hear all of these stories in big compilations and save huge on data, located anywhere you listen to podcasts. All links in the description below. Thanks so much, friends. And remember... What? Remember to stick out your gat. For this skibbity... Wait, what is that one song? I really want to read that as the outro. Sticking out her gat for the skibbity. Isn't it something? I forget. For the Rizzler. It's so fucking stupid. It's so bad. Here we go, here we go.
Son, get off your tablet. What food you're ordering?
I want Grimace Shake Ohio.
What the hell are
Grimace
you
Shake
talking
Ohio.
about? Ma'am, I just ordered a chicken.
Damn, Dad, you got the W Riz.
Goddamn, are you annoying?
Dad, I want to pee.
Fine, I'll bring you to the toilet.
I'll bring you to the
Holy
toilet.
crap, it's that skibidi toilet.
No, that's just a toilet, son. Just hurry up.
Sticking out your gap for the
Son, stop saying. Just finish already.
It's so
I can't take
skibbity.
I just wanna be your Sigma freaking.
Oh my god. Sticking out your gat for the Rizzler. So skibbity. So fucking stupid. Oh yeah, the Yoshi's Island music. Elizabeth Knapp with the 10 says, I wanted to tell you last week, but I didn't catch you in time when I got you on. But FNAF, I'd streaming on Peacock, in case you don't want to go to the theater. I feel like it's almost like a theater-esque movie. Like you need to see it once in the theater for the jumpy scares. But perhaps I would have to check it out on the cock. I want to be your Ohio. Alright, I'm going to say that at the end. Wait, what was the lyrics again? I'm an idiot. Sticking out your... The freak gizzed on your nuggets. Sticking out your gat for the... I don't know why, it just makes me sick inside. Sticking out your gat for the Rizzler. Dude, what the fuck? I just want the lyrics, you dumb asshole. Oh, there it is. You're so skibbity. There we go. Thanks so much, friends. And remember, sticking out your gat for the Rizzler. You're so skibbity. God damn it, I almost like laughed. Did I say it right? Sticking out your gat for the Rizzler. Oh, shit. I love the internet so fucking much, dude. And thanks for letting me be a part of it. Even for a brief little fart here on Earth. But guys, I appreciate you. I hope you had an amazing Halloween. Remember, the veil is thinnest tonight. Actually, would it be... What if, like, demons showed up in your room and they're like, when the veil is thinnest, and you're like, actually, it's November 1st, so you guys shouldn't even fucking be here right now? I'm trying to sleep. Oh, alright. But, yeah. I will get these Home Alone stories up on Patreon. First things first. It's only $1 a month over there for early access, as well as bonus content on the $5 tier, and then, you know, all the other shit on here on members on the YouTube, and it's all confusing. But I will also get it up on YouTube, same time, same place tonight, for your Wednesday, 7 p.m. EST pleasure listening. So skibbity, Kaisenat. Elizabeth Knapp, welcome to the Buttersock Cult. You now have access to bonus content. Thank you. Yeah, Goon Night, Glizzlers. Oh, shit, so good. Alright, I'll see you guys later. I'll see you next stream if you want to hang out. Follow me on social media. I'll be on there as well. Twitter, Instagram, all that good stuff. Alright, sleep tight. Stay tight. I don't know. Just don't let anybody behind you, okay?